What is going on, guys? Tim Ruswick here from Game Dev Underground, GDU.io, and today we're talking about inspiration, because inspiration is one of those things that every kind of artist or creator needs at some point in their life to get started, and it kind of helps to take in the world and kind of experience things and then regurgitate the things that you see, the things that you learn into some form of art that is self-expression. Um, and this is an interesting one because, I mean, I've talked about on the channel before about how discipline is more important than motivation and all that. But inspiration is kind of a mix between the motivation that you get to kind of start working on stuff, but also it has a lot to do with idea generation, and it kind of mixes those two things together in a beautiful little way. So I thought that I would talk about one of my main methods to get inspiration, and also kind of give you examples of how that has inspired some of my past work. So let's take a look at my computer real quick, and I have in front of me something I call a swipe file. I actually didn't create this term. This is a term that I learned in a swipe file from back in my marketing days. Whenever I found a good piece of marketing, I would save a screenshot of it, I would copy it, I would save it in a file. I do the same thing with images, and actually a lot of the images that you see here are images I've taken from indie game developers group, or random pictures I found on Facebook, random pictures I found on Google. You got some album covers here. Like, these are all kinds of people's work from all kinds of places. And I save them all into this file because they inspire me. I love to look at some of this stuff because it's like, okay, this is really interesting. And a lot of my ideas have been inspired just by looking at some of this stuff with zero context. Like, a lot of these games, I don't even know what they're called or who they're from or who built them, but they're just games that I think look amazing. Not even games in some point. Like, this is somebody's work in progress. This is just stuff that I find interesting. So I don't actually know what this is, to be honest. Someone's gonna school me. This looks a lot like Edmund McMullen's stuff. It probably is. Who knows? But this actually inspired one of... So let me show you my game, Philophobia, real quick, and I'll kind of explain this. So Philophobia is my game that's coming out in February, and it is a platformer, but it's basically... let's open up random level. Okay, so the premise of the game is the fear of love, right? That's what Philophobia is. And so you're running from hearts, basically. That's the whole concept of the game. Now, I like this shadow mechanic here, right? Like, this is the main mechanic of the game, and the hearts kill you, obviously, like that. The mechanic is great, but the background is so boring. The background is ridiculously boring, right? It's a cool little game. They got the mechanic. I got all the levels done. Obviously, there's a story, and there's all kinds of stuff that I still have to do. But the basic mechanic, all that stuff is locked in. What's not locked in is this ugly ass gray background, and that is where this picture comes in, because this picture actually inspired me to take a new art direction. And whereas initially when I started the game, it was all my goal was to use 4 flat colors and make the entire game. And as you can see, like, the game, literally, I have not used more than 4 flat colors. That's it. 4 flat colors and all hearts. All the enemies are hearts. So it was really interesting, you know, but at the same time, now that the game has evolved into a story game, which is not reflected in that build, by the way, it needs more. And this kind of background, this dark red background, I think is going to really make it pop. I'm going to have to change the color of some of the enemies for that case. But that's this image right here from some random Twitter posts that I saw inspired that whole thing. Let's look at another one. This one, I have no idea what this is. I literally have no clue what this game is, but I will show you. This inspired my game, Indy Jones, Raiders of the Lost Art. And this was... Oh, I probably got to go through the whole intro because of my inability. But this is the basic screenshots of the game. And now, granted, this is a platformer. This is not like that original image. But this is what inspired it. A hand-drawn type of image. And in the game, this was a game jam game, by the way. You just basically... You're trying to get the art that you lost in a crash of the computer. So... This is one of those things that like has really helped me in so many different ways, and this is just one of my folders. This is the one I keep in my Dropbox, and it's really interesting because there's so much cool stuff that just inspires me on a daily basis, and I always want to keep folders and files full of stuff like that. And I'm not. A lot of people get scared to do this kind of thing because they think, oh well, I'm copying or I'm stealing someone's work. Or no, it's not like that at all. You saw how I do it. I'm not copying these games. I'm just getting inspired by other people's work, and I'm sure all of these games were inspired by other people's games. So, and this actually I pulled from the Slack chat in the Game Keto group. So like this is just a random abstract image. Like there's so much cool stuff to be inspired with just here. This inspired my game Symmetra. Let me show you that. I forgot about this. Actually, I probably can't even show you that build without... we'll see. Why did it freeze up? Maybe we'll see. We'll show you the basic build of it. So this is a mobile game. Basically just collect shit. So you basically just collect shit in this game, right? And then you die, obviously, like that. But if you look at this image, don't those things look familiar? Doesn't it look purple, black, white? That's the color scheme I used. This specifically was inspired by that. Like, there's so many games that have just been inspired by other people's work, and if you need inspiration at any point, I would highly recommend that you start a swipe file. You legit start just copying a bunch of stuff in a folder, looking at it, see how it works, get inspired by it. Like every time I don't have an idea, let's say I'm starting a game jam or I want to start a new game, I go to this folder and I just open up random stuff, and it never disappoints me, right? There's so much cool stuff in there, and I can't recommend this enough. So I would highly recommend, if you have trouble with inspiration, you start keeping a file of images and stuff on your computer. You can also do this with like something like Instagram, or you can, however you want to do this. You can use Evernote. You can use all kinds of stuff to kind of just keep all the files in place. I just like a folder. I just random drag and drop the files into a folder. That works for me. But like this folder and hundreds of people's work that I've never met and have no clue who they are has inspired a ton of my work. And it's crazy to think about that, right? Like just some random people on the internet posted some stuff, and then I saved it to my computer, and then they inspired a different game based completely different from theirs, but it just, looking at it, inspires something. And actually, some of this stuff I think is more powerful without the context, right? Like this, I have no idea how to play this game. I have no idea what this is or what to do, but when I look at it, it almost like wants my brain to get working, right? Like I almost start to think about how it could work, what I could do. Um, like this, I just think is awesome. I totally want to make a top-down game like this someday. That's why I saved that. And I just find this so interesting to kind of to see all this different stuff. And a lot of these images are saved for different reasons. Like I have 3 Days Grace cover in here. I think I saved this because of the color palette more than anything. So not even just like the image, but I like the orange on the black on the white. So that'll work one day. I got this little guy. I don't know what the hell this is, but I thought that was interesting. And this, of course, like my art style is not anywhere near on this level, but I'm really into like post-apocalyptic sci-fi stuff like this, and just looking at this kind of inspires me, whether it's a story or what's going on. Like I use this for the backstory of one of my games, Black Rim. I just kind of said, okay, this is part of the world. I just like totally plopped this down. Whatever this is, I think this is the new CD Projekt Red game that's not out yet. Maybe I could be wrong on that, but yeah, like just create a swipe file, find stuff that inspires you, and create a file. Just dump a bunch of stuff in there that really inspires you, and it'll totally work. You can come in here anytime you need your inspiration, and it's just like a never-ending thing that you can pull from. And I would highly recommend that you give it a try. So that's all I got for today. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please leave me a comment below. Always love to start a conversation. So if you've got a method that inspires you, please leave it below too, because I love to hear from you guys. But once again, I'm Tim Ruswick, and I'll see you tomorrow.